Hello everyone and welcome. Before we start, let me do an introduction. For those who don't know me, my name is Antipotion. I'm a self-taught product engineer who builds products, tools, and systems that solve real-world problems. In these live streams, you'll see me work through the entire product development process, from exploring ideas and designing solutions to implementing features and refining the user experience. Along the way, I'll share the constraints, trade-offs, and reasoning behind the decisions that shape the final product. The goal isn't just to build software, it's to make the thinking behind the software visible. I'm also building a community on Discord where I share development logs, roadmaps, project updates, and behind-the-scenes progress. If you're interested, or if you'd just like to hang out and talk with other builders, you'll find the Discord link in the bottom left corner of the screen and in the description. Thanks for being here, and let's get started. For today's objectives, we have implement the UI design from Figma, implement the route architecture and view philosophy as a consequence of the new design discussed on the live stream to solve the UI issue. This was on the previous live stream. Making some of the existing UI features functional and connect back to the machinery. So, I would like to give a brief overview or a brief recap on the things we discussed on the previous live stream. As you notice here, TaskGate's entity relationship model, this is very important when talking about the UI because the code that we have is enforcing these relationships. A team owns the project, and the project can only belong to a team. A project owns a task owns a review, and a review owns a comment. This chain of ownership is very essential because this is the guarantee that TaskGates rely on to enforce strict workflow and to solve the problem statement, which was to have an explicit output and avoid ambiguous state transitions when it comes to workflow management. We have also discussed on the previous live stream about the effect of the multi-pane layout design that we have for the UI to the code and how it changes the architecture, the routing architecture, and the view philosophy of TaskGate. So previously or currently, we have this route architecture where each route displays a component replacing the older one. Now this works for the mobile. However, as we have discussed on the previous stream, there are a lot of white spaces that are underutilized and we somehow need to solve that. So instead, we design the multi-pane, not design, but we chose the layout, multi-pane layout, so that we can enforce or make the relationships of the entities much clearer and much easier to navigate as well as to understand from the user's perspective. So for this design here, for this architecture, to make the multi-pane layout possible in the current code, instead of relying on routes to replace the component on the screen to move from one point to another, instead, we make the route become a stakeholder. We have routes here, and we also have a layout shell which decides how the view of the app will be. So for this, we have a layout shell that reads the route parameters. And we also added an external breakpoint observer that tells the layout shell what is the current size of the screen or what device it is. Then the layout shell decides which of these conditions will be activated. For instance, if it is a mobile screen, under the range that we will put, if it is a mobile screen, we will have the same view layout. We will have one component for each screen, replacing the other. However, when it has more screen real estate, we will transition to the tablet and above here, this conditional layout here, that will be a multi-pane layout, which will showcase one component and a conditional second pane, because we have a layout on tablets that shows only one screen, but there are also that shows two. Alright. So right now I will show the UI just to have a understanding of what we are talking about. So in these designs, as you can see, we now have multi-panes, right? Previously, we have all these white spaces that were unused and it doesn't look right. It looks very bare and it lacks visual punch, you know. So this is the mobile views up here. As you can see, it replaces one screen at a time. Each screen has a dedicated purpose, you know. And after that, since we can't rely on this single screen on larger devices and larger screen because of the unused white space, instead we design it so that we now use multi-pane. As you can see here, we only have one screen, right? And the layout shell. However, as the screen increases, or on some conditions, as you can see, there are two panes here. And it is just not about the number of panes that we put, but rather also the relationship of the panes. As you can see here, the first pane consists of the team names, and the second pane consists of the members, the owner, all the details that is inside a team. So one reason also why we only support up to, as you notice, we only have 1280 pixels max width, is because an introduction to a third pane will now have a new problem where we need to think how the relationships of each pane will be, since there are now three panes, and currently the relationship model of TaskGate only supports up to two. More than that, it breaks the relationships and the guarantees that the UI as well as the code underneath enforces and support. So after that, we will now proceed on making this how do you call this design, this code viable, you know. It's time to implement it. Let me just start the local server. So we can implement the design. Actually, also let me bring the design so that we can see it. Alright, now have here the designs, and we will be implementing them one by one. Let's start with this project dashboard here. Give me a second, something's wrong. I'll be right back. Alright, we're now back. So first, let's implement the project dashboard mobile layout. Alright, yeah, let's implement that. I'm finding the parent so that I can determine which file it is. Alright. Dashboard. And we will now make this design here. I will first design for mobile. And create the button of the ad, create project here. Right now it's just a normal button. Let me find out why this is. Small screen buttons, and click. Let's remove this one here. Let's comment that out for now, and then make this like that. And for the themes, we will instead create this one here, this button, and make this hidden and shown only when it is on medium. this oh this should be hidden here. Is this still showing? I'm finding out the reason why the bottom themes here is still showing. This should now disappear. Inline flex. Let me try to comment this to see if it's really the element that is affecting the class, the layout. Grind the business into the hidden. It isn't working. That should make it not visible anymore. But instead it has its own rules here. None hidden. Oh, so the MDC button is enforcing its own rules here. We need to somehow override it. So instead of putting the the class on the button itself, we will now have it on a dedicated div, just so it follows what we want, because we need to override it. We need to override the innate class of it. If we don't do this, so it's much better alternative. We'll put some indication of what this is so that we can instantly understand what this code is doing on tablet device, on medium device, medium screen. And then here for the view themes, we will do the same. Instead it should be, let me try to hidden this if it works. No, it needs the same treatment. So I'll put it inside this box too. Inside this div, and apply the same rules. This should be, what's the innate display of this? Block. Okay, it should be block. And on the medium screen, it should be hidden. Now we can put the, oh, it's not showing. My bad. Let me fix this. We now have that. Okay, let me get back So this is now the theme icon, theme button when on small screen, small screen. Now have those. Then we need to make this div here to give some space for the themes button. Finding the reason why this is not occupying the full width, but instead having its own enforcing its own rules here. Flex block. If we hide this, let me check if this works. If we hide this one here, the button, so there's a problem in the box above near this, because this is the only point where it fails. Flex pick content. Let me disable that for now and see what is causing this. There's a justify between. It shouldn't be a problem here. Let me try to remove this. Yes, it shouldn't be a problem. What's this? Oh, sorry. It is a block element, and the button is a block as well. That's why. So we now have to make it a inline flex or inline block here. Not that. This one here. The theme button inline block. So we now fix it. The reason is that block elements occupy the full width and it doesn't pair horizontally, or rather it doesn't occupy space horizontally. It occupies, no, what I mean is that they don't arrange themselves horizontally. They occupy the full space. They don't let others inside that space. That's what I meant. Now we need this to be item center to align it to the middle. It's not working. Is it because the button? No, that should not be the problem here. It's because it's normal flex, so we need a justify. Not as well. Why is this? Let's see. The button here is above its block. Let me change this to inline block as well. And now make this item center. It's still not solving the problem here. There shouldn't be any reason for this not to do what we want, because items center. This element here the group also should have this as children. Let me add a background here just so we see it more clearly. And then we make it why is this behaving this way? If we make it a flex color here, oh, I see, because this isn't a, we make it an empty flex, right? So we also need to align the rules where it's, since it is empty flex, no, we don't need this to be empty flex now. We don't need this to have the breakpoint because we already moved the other buttons we had a while ago. So now it is fixed. The reason it was like that a while ago because let's inspect why that's the case. I am suspecting it is a block element, which is why the rules of items doesn't apply. Yeah, it's a block element here. And we now make it a flex. And it aligns itself. Let's reduce the gap here to 2 and remove the background. Now we have the same design here on Figma, and we now have to make these cards here look the same. So our cards are here at the bottom. We also have different state checks here for the empty and the project list. Let's focus on this card for now. We are using the let me actually move this to a new tab that we can see. Let me find the Figma file. And place it in front of this. Let me fix this for a moment, okay? Alright, you can now see both the design and the, what you call this, code. Alright, we will now continue implementing the buttons. This one here for the dashboard, we need the cards here designed like this. So for that, we need to adjust this math card to have the title. What's the font here? It's large. What's the font for the inlet card of material design? Font. Not that one. It's large. Okay. Large. Title large. Next we need the theme and month, date and year. There should be 2 of this, right? You have the month, date and year here, but this shouldn't be a how do you call this? Shouldn't be a subtitle on its own. You can instead make it have here a project detail, project deadline, and put a date pipe. Then we can remove this one here, and we also need the start date, right? Let's put the start date here. Start date. Now we have the start date and the deadline. Now we need the theme here. The theme should be present. However, I think we need to get the theme because it's not included in the theme name is not included in the data model, only the ID of the theme. So I'll be checking first if we already have a pipe for that. I'll be going to the repository and find theme here. I'm looking if we already made a get theme ID input. Let me check the store. I think we already have one there. We created a pipe of the theme, right? Created a pipe for the theme. Let's switch map. So we already have the theme. We just need the we already have a get theme by ID here, and it returns a theme model directly. So we can then use that dashboard TS. Also, if you notice that there is a very specific structure I am following when inserting things, that's because it is how I designed the architecture of the app, so that it isn't confusing when maintaining it and changing things or adding stuff. So we have an access to the method in the project dashboard, and we need to get the theme here. First, need to check if we have it in the facade, because this is how it is supposed to be, this is how this project is supposed to be, because it is how it is structured. So nothing from the UI talks directly to the infrastructure or the use cases or store. They all undergo the facade here. Since we don't have a get team ID here, I'll add that one and connect it to the store. Oh, we already have the store service. And get the team ID. Is this a observable? So we need it to store as a signal here. Or we could also just not pass a observable, but rather just a signal directly. We need to make this return a to signal. We need to transform the the whole signal, whole observable to a signal. Also, this signal here, it isn't same though. The signal here subscribes to the get team by ID. So instead of making it so there is a lot of subscription, we just subscribe once for all the use cases for it. And here I will add a I think we should just return is observable here, because then we can just create a switch map to make it reactive as well. I feel like the signal won't make us do that because it's synchronous and it's hard to call this code here every time it changes. So rather than that, I'll have a private read-only select team ID here. What this will do is receive a string, and this will be read by the this will be read by this one. We have a team, not team, oh, never mind. We don't need observable here, right? Because we just need the item once. So instead, we'll create a Firestore query once. That will be done once, not an observable. So we have the team. We need to get a team here. Join, leave. We'll add it here. Let's say async get team. It will receive a team ID, that is a string, and it will return a promise of team model. Right, it will return a promise of team model, or null. Let's make it null here, or void. No, let's make it like that for now. Get team by ID. We'll have to remove this one here. Let's make a to-do for now. Remove this. Next, we will get a, what do you call this? I already have one, so we just need to copy. Close review. No, I think we already have one. I made one quite far back. Where is the promise string? Promise string, void string here, comment. Oh, we don't have one here. We have oh, this is the one. Let's copy this. What do you call this? Implementation, and we'll just have to change things up. So we will now query the themes collection. We get the theme ID, and we'll await that. Get the result if it exists. If it doesn't, we'll have those. And now have the ID. It should be the snapshot ID and a name for the theme. Here should be a name and the creator ID. Should also be a creator ID and the member IDs. There you go. I can now delete the one here. This one, I can now delete it. And instead, what is the problem here? Constref return unexpected. Where did I? Oh, this one. Next is we go to the store service. Let's put this inside the store service here. Get theme by ID, which will receive a theme ID string and return a promise of theme model or null here. What's the return type? Right, because it returns a null in here. Then we'll just pipe it. We'll return this dot repo dot get project by ID. I get theme by ID. Turn the string there. This will return a promise. Now we can use this directly to our facade here without having to pipe those things up, and just directly get a what do I call this? Theme model, theme data. I have the get theme by ID here, which receives a theme ID of string, and then return a promise of theme model, or also we can just not do this, right? And instead put the void there, because my plan is to have a signal here that will store the theme, current theme here, and we'll say signal and say that it should be a theme model or it should be null. We'll initialize it with a null, and if we go back to the bottom here, we will make it so that when we store the result first from this, what do I call this? This call from the store, this dot store service dot get theme by ID, and we'll have the team, right? Then we'll have a null check. If not team, we will return. Then if there is a team, we will do, before that, let's make this an async, because this is an async call. So this should take a while, not immediately, and we'll have to await this because we know it's a promise. Then we will say that current team should be set to this team here that we received. So that's that. Now we can get the, no, we will have to, how do you call this? We'll have to first put, we will first need to read the team that is, how do you call this? That is cold. This should be current team, and this will be a computed, because we will be calling this what do you call this, the function we made from the project facade dot, what's the name for that? I forgot. Get team by ID, team ID. So now we will say, we will also put a team ID signal here that says this should be a string or a null here. It should be initialized by a null, and then we will say that the team ID here should be able to listen just like so. Let's make this, let's put a null check here because the type signature is not aligned, and it will say const team ID, because this the team ID, and we will say that if not team ID, we will throw an error. Oh no, let's just return for now. We'll return for now, and then we will return this result that we have here. And now we'll have to remove the this because the team ID is now a variable inside this computed. So that should do it. But before it will work, we will need to set this team ID here, right? So in the constructor, we will put an effect because this is a signal. We need to run it every time the dependencies change. Run it again. We will say that this, the team ID that's set to, we'll first check if we have a project state. Since we have that project state, since we have the project, we will say const project equals project state dot project state dot status, project state status, and we will say if project status is not equal to success, we will return, because only success projects have data. Const project equals, actually, you know what, what we need here is to pass the team ID from the individual projects, right? However, we won't know. Oh, we can do that by matching these IDs, creating a map, and then matching the IDs of the project, matching the project's team ID to the team ID that we have, right? So if project status equals success so the check there returns if it doesn't equal success. So after that, we know that the project status is a success, right? So we'll say projects const projects, because this will be a project model array here. Project model array here, this one here, this should be an array here. We know that should be the case because project status is now a, let's remove this TTS here, just move that and just do this here instead, so that we can still use project status that data, right? And then we will say that we'll also create a map here. Let's store this map here, team teams map. This will be a signal that will hold a map here of key value pairs. That should be a string and a string, or no, that should be good. Then we'll create a map here, new map. 1, 2, 3. It's lacking another angle bracket here. Should be 3, right? 1, 2. Map string, the spacing. That's the problem here. Signal string and string cannot be string. Cannot be string. Why is that? That should be a string though. What is the, let me check what's the default type for maps here. It should be a key value pair, right? It should contain a string, unless, let me try to remove this and see what this is going to say. Signal map string. What's wrong with this? Map any. This should be a string and a string. The key value pairs is string. You know what, let's ask what is wrong with this here. What is wrong with this? There is an extra one. Oh, I see. We have a double this one here. So it's now correct. Next is, after we get the project arrays here. We'll iterate over those. We'll say that for project or project project how to call this, for project for cons project of projects, we'll say that update, we will update the map here, right? So we'll say this, the themes map collection, and we will say update it to have these themes old, and we will create a new map here that contains the, but before that, let's first get the IDs, right? Const theme ID equals await this that project facade. I will get the data from the project facade, right? Get team by ID, and we will get the, this is wrong team here. We'll get that team ID is project dot team ID. I get this await. This is asynchronous, so we'll say asynchronous there. We will get the team ID. So now we have the team, right? Then we will get the team name. Team name equals team dot name. Team should be a team model though. It's a void. Why? Oh right, because this is the wrong abstraction. We don't want to store this team here in the current team, right? Because that's no longer the case. We now need it to return the themes directly. It should return a team model. Or null. Let's say if not team, return null. Else we will return the team that we got, right? Now we have the team here. We have the team model R null. Let's put a null check. If not team, we must return, because there's no data we can deal with. Now we get the name. We now have the name here. For each, we get the name, right? No. Let's first check if this, let's check if the map contains the team ID already, so that we don't need to call the async again and just proceed, because we already have the same data, right? If this that teams map collection that has team ID, if it already has that, we will return. This will be a check if the team ID is already recorded, so that we don't need to, no, we will not return. Actually, we will still if not, let's make this a not here. If not this, the teams map collection that has this should return a false, right? It returns a boolean Then we will get the team ID here, and we will get the team there, and we won't return. Actually, we will continue because this is a loop, right? We will continue, and then we will say that if it is not inside the map, we will get the team, and then we will pair the team ID. This should be a team ID map here. The map should be a team ID and a team name, right? If the team ID is not inside the map, we will get the team. Now we will have a team name here. We will now have a team name here, which we can use to have we will insert it to the map right now. The team. Actually, we can make this much more concise by moving this here, this one outside, and instead in the check we will have this one outside, and instead if it already has, then we will continue. Else, if it doesn't have one, if it doesn't has the team here, we will then get the team, get the team name, and then we will insert it. We will update it. We'll update the map so that the new map has the old teams, and we will also insert this. We'll also insert the these data that we have here, the team name. We will say that teams, we will make this const new teams, const new map teams, then new teams that insert that set. We have the team ID and the team name, and then we will say that we will return the new teams, right? So this means that in this constructor we have an effect that reruns every time the dependencies change, which is this project state. Then we have a guard that says if the status of the project is not, if this here is not success, then we need to return because there's no data we can deal with. If it is a success, we get the data here, and then we iterate over the projects inside, and then we get the team ID for that project and say that we need to check if the team's map collection has the team ID already, because then it will be redundant if it already has to call this await function here. If it has, we will continue the iteration. If it doesn't, we will get the await here. We will wait for this team data, and then if there is no data, we will continue because there's no team existing in the database that has the team ID. And then if it has the data, we will get the team name, and then we will update the collection so that we have the old data, as well as add this new team ID and the team name there, which we will then which we will then, we don't need this anymore here at the bottom, which we will then read from this here for our UI, because now we have this theme, right? So we will say that this dot themes collection, theme map collection, we can avoid calling this again and again, right? So we say themes map collection equals this themes map collection, themes map collection, so that we don't make multiple calls unnecessarily. And then themes map collection dot get theme ID here. This will the error is, oh right, it's project. There you go. You will get that. We now have the theme, as you can see in this, in the UI. We now have the data. So we get that if the result is null, I'll just say unknown theme. Oh no, not unknown. No theme exists. Not in a theme. No theme exists. Let's just use that for now. So we now have these data that we need for these, what do you call this, for this design here. We now have the theme and the dates, right? We also have the project title now. We just need the in progress and the overdue. But before that, let me fix this alignment issue here. The math card title, there should be a, what do I call this? There should be a Angular material. Should be a dedicated space for these titles here. I forgot the name though. Oh, it's header. That's why. It's header. So we say math card header. Put this inside there. Now that fixed the alignment issue. Now for this, here we need to limit this size here. Right now it is currently, the width is 256 pixels. We need this to be, let's try 200 pixels. Let me view this, the available widths. We have the X as just 288, the 96. How much pixels is this? 40. So we have a smaller number we can use. Instead of 96, let's try 80. No, it's too big still. 60. We have 60 here. Let's try 60. I think it's too big as well. Let's have 48. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then say truncate it. Truncate and text overflow. hidden. Let me make this a bit more shorter so we can see what we are dealing with. There, it's working. As you can see, it's now truncated there. Let's make it 24 here. Now we need this project start date to be in a number format so that we can make it concise. I'm looking for the format for the short. Where is this short date? We need the short date here. We need this short date. Short date. Right. Now have that and short date. Now we need this to be in a vertical order. No, horizontal order. So we'll do flex. That should be that, and then we'll put a gap of 2, 4. Next is we need a visual indicator of this start and end date. Otherwise, it is too ambiguous. Or maybe we can put a S there, right? Or we can just make a color. Color for now. Let's do background bg. Let's say the start is, what are the available colors here? That's fine. Oh, actually you can just search it up. Tailwind CSS colors. Let's have violet for the start date. So violet 200, and for the end date we'll have a pink 200. There you go. I think that's much better. It makes it much more, how do you call this? It makes it much more distinct. And I need to add some padding here, so we'll say padding 2, angular padding 2, and then we'll have to, I think it's too much, the 2 here. Let's have 1, and then we'll have to add a border radius, a matte corner full. Actually, what's the name of that class we have here? Matte corner full. Alright, matte corner full. Now we need to put some py is 1, and the x-axis will have 2. Yeah, that's much better. We'll do the same for this deadline here, just to match these styles that we have and make it more coherent. There you go. Now we'll have to reduce the gap for this 2 here because it's too much. Actually, we can also put this on their own group, because they have their own groupings, right? They belong together, and we'll make that like so. And then we'll make this items center here, so that things are on the middle. Just like so. Alright, where's this one? We now have the project title, themes. Now we lock this, how do you call this? This status badges here for the project, and also the health. What I am thinking instead is this design here for this will be revised. Instead of it being horizontally aligned, we'll make this vertically, just like so. And then we will not use an item center more. Let's make it like that. And then rather than put a gap there, let's make this, let's remove the gap for now, just like so. And then we will add we'll also make this tighter here, the gap for the dates. And then we will add the, how to call this, the indications of the project status. Do we have a project status here? Let me check if we have a status. No, we don't have a status. Why is that? Let me check first. Oh right, we need to check if the project has tasks, because in the project details here we have this one here, the project status. Let's look at this TypeScript file for that, project details, and find how we got the status here. We have the status get project status, this project ID, or did we implement that inside the project facade? Oh, so we can actually get the same data from the project facade here, and we can also get the deadline pressure. Great, awesome. So we'll just use this one and we'll put it inside this dashboard here. We'll get our own, let's say, get project status here that will receive a project ID which is of type string, and will return a project status model, right? Then we will say that this dot project facade dot get project status, just like so. Return signal. Oh, it's a signal here, so we'll return a signal of project status model or null. Update the import. Now we can get the project status. Let's close this. This is the project theme and dates. Next is this. It's now outside those outside the card. We'll have the project. Oh no, what's the design here? We have the project title inside the same. Let's put it outside and just make it absolute. So we have now this div here, which will be these project status project badges. Let's call it badges because we will put both the project status and the project deadline pressure. First, let's work on this project status here and make a div as well, which will be having a paragraph that has this get project status. This returns a this that get project status. Oh, we can just also do this. We could do cons project status and say that, and we'll just return it immediately. We'll return project status like so. It's a actually never mind, we have to make it a signal because this needs to react immediately to the incoming, to the changes that happens to the project, right? So we'll return it again and make this a promise again. Oh no, not a promise, this is a signal. Signal like so, and then this should be a read get project status. Wait a minute, this should be a computed. Oh no, how do I make it so that this will be reactive? And let me have this. Let's ask ChatGPT here. How do I read this in the template, in the Angular template, and make it reactive? Read it like a signal. Creates a new signal each time. It's problematic. Expose the signal once and then read it. Is the second parenthesis. Alright. So it's just like an iffy. Now we will read this. We will read the get project status and get project. We should have access to project, right? Project.id, and then we will do that. Now we have this. What do you call this? This. What's the name of this? Status. We now have a status here. And for that, I do have a colors for that already, which we have in this project status here. Project status in the project header. Let's grab those header HTML and grab this ng classes here. We'll be using those as well. And in this project dashboard.ts, we'll have to import import this ng class here. Now we have the ng class, right? Then we will say ng class, oops, let's make this like so, and put those. I didn't copy this, right? Let me store it. And then make it like that. Then we paste this. And this should be project. We can do this at let project status equals get project status project.id. We call it like so. Now we can use a switch there. Project dashboard. Oh, it's lacking a letter. Project. Now we have the project status available, and now just need to make this project status here. Project status. Now we have the colors there, and we'll make this fit to width, and then add a 1 padding on the left and right. Top and bottom we'll have on top and bottom we have 1, and the left and right we'll have 2. And then we'll add this matte corner full for these full border ranges, and then we'll just make this an absolute, so we can stick it to this, to the top. Once it is an absolute, and make it top 0 and right 0. We'll now add a, let's make it move. Let me check first how much is the equivalence of 1 here. So 1 is 4. We need, how much is the padding here? Let me check the padding. We have a 16 padding. Alright, let's make it 4, then 4, and the right will have 4 too, just like so. 4, 4, 4. Now it looks like it belongs. We'll adjust some of it, but for now this is the project status, right? This is the project status. I'll now make this the project deadline pressure. Let's also grab the project deadline pressure here. Get project deadline pressure. project deadline pressure, which receives a start date, which is a string, or a date, which is a date. Is it a date or a string? What did I put here? It should receive a date here. Oops. It should receive a date, so there should be a date here, and an end date. That's also a date. We can guarantee that. Oh no, this will also be nullable because it is an optional part of the data model, and then we will say return this that project facade that get project deadline pressure, and we'll say project start date and also the end date here. Project end date. Wrong one. That's a deadline. Alright, deadline. Like so. Now we can get this project deadline here. This should be get project deadline pressure. This should be synchronous because this is a computation directly. We don't have to retrieve it from a database. Just like so. We now have those, right? So since we already have that, we will now get our deadline pressure, which is just a project deadline here. See, already have one. Also, I forgot, we need these. We need the title case pipe here, just to tidy up some casings. Title case, and then also here at the bottom we'll put the title case. As you can see, it makes it look much more formal. Also, we have this one here, the same class, the same structure, but with different color combinations. We now have this one here. Let's put it here inside div above. This pressure here, just to align those things there. Make this the same. Project deadline. Oh, it's lacking a letter S. Now we have that. We'll do the same where we put a padding on the left and right of 2 and on the top and bottom of 1, and we will also add corner ridges like so. And then we also need to make it text align here. Text align center. Text center. Just like so. And at the top as well. Text center. Actually, we could also make it fit. No, this is unnecessary. We don't need the center if it will fit. right. So we'll just say that go fit your content, just like so. And then we'll align this to, let's make this a flex. Here, flex column. And then align this to this end, items end. Oh, it's justify. Justify. No, that should be items. Let's see why is that. This should be N, but it doesn't follow us. Oh, right, because it's flexible immediately. I forgot the flex here. That's fixed now. Let me move my table. All right. Let me adjust the mic. We now have this title of the project card, the dates, the status, and the deadline pressure. So now we will implement the next things. We have this to here. I just have to add this, what do you call this, the padding. I am wondering why this math card content here is not allocating space for this, what do you call this, to start date and end date, because this math card content doesn't have any paddings to the bottom, so we'll just add one ourselves. We'll say P bottom 4. Is that right? Let me check if it's right. P bottom. Oh, it's PE, right? Now we have space at the bottom. I want this groups here below to have some space, as well as this math card content. We'll say that this is a flex here. We'll make it a column, flex column, and then we will add a gap here. That gap should be 4, just like so. And then actually these dates here are a bit distracting, you know. My plan is just to make it a chip instead. If we make it a chip here, we'll first import the chips from Angular Materials module, nops, and then make it a chips here, chip. As you can see, it's much better, much cleaner, although it's also hard to understand. We'll put a word that says start, and on the bottom as well. We'll make it cheap. That's the same as above. Excuse me. And we'll make it we'll put a end deadline here. Let's put the deadline start, and let's just make it as an end. Now I need these dates here to have exactly 2 digits each. So let's create our own here. That says, do we have oh, we'll have to make those ourselves. 2 digits for each. No, that should be month, date, year. Oh, it should be capital, just like so. The short date only has 2 here, so let's put just 2 for the years as well, and we'll do the same here. Month, date, and year. Now we have that. Let's make this truncate more. Yes, let's make this have more text. And then we do let's try to add just to see how much it cuts off. Get 0. Let's have that. Just like that. Then we'll have this 2 here to have a gap of 2, like so. And then let me check the materials, what the classes that I have. I need a small label. I have that. Oh, I have one. I'll change this to a class of math font label small, just so there is less space it needs to be displayed. Font label small, just like that. I'll also make these badges here to be the badges this one here to be small as well. Math font label small. Nope, it needs to be applied individually. Let's make it small here. Math font label small. Do the same for the bottom part. Class very small. Also, I think I need to make this headers here, titles, to be smaller because it's too much. Let's make this actually matte font, title medium. Just like that, so it occupies less space. Also, I need to guard for this just in case it goes beyond the scope, and I need to truncate it. Let's test first how long this is. Let's adjust this truncation here that we have and make it 48. Make it 44. Let's make it 40. And then just like so. Now as you notice, where's this design here? It isn't exactly the same, right? The design looks good though, but the implementation is not. Let me see what I can do here. I need this title to be the same. If I want it to be the same, I'll remove this, and as well as the target, in the end tag. Now it's like that. I think the problem here is because we are allocating too much space for the theme and the dates here. I wonder if the dates should just be removed, or no, I think we need it to, I want to make it show both the start and end date, but if that's not possible, we can only show one, then I'd much rather choose the end date to be shown rather than the start date. I think it makes more sense to know when the deadline of something is. Where is this? I'm looking for. Where are there two conflicting? Where's the start date here? I just need to. It's not the one we want. It's here. I just need this start date to be gone and just have the end date here. Now we need to truncate this theme here to just. I could apply a parser to just get the first letters of every word, but I don't think I don't think it should be implemented right now. I'll just do it at maybe at a later date. For now, let's limit it to about limit the theme name here to be, where's the theme name? Oh, it's here inside. let's make the team name here to be less than the width to be 4. No, 24. No, that's too big. 4, 8, 10. Let's make 10. Just like so. And then we will make this a flex like that. And items center like so. And then let me uppercase this. I'll also remove this overflow, this truncating. I want to put an uppercase pipe here, just to make it look like an abbreviation, right? And for this, we need to be unknown. It's unknown here. Can that be shown? Unknown. Let's just put none. And let's put none, and then we'll pipe it to a uppercase pipe. There, that looks like a what do you call this? An abbreviation. I need to show 4 letters exactly though. But can I make this 12? Yeah, I think this is fine for now. At least it follows the design that we have. And I'll remove these chips here because I don't think we need that anymore, as well as here. And I'll remove this end date here. And then I'll make this theme here to be label small as well. Label small, just so they are the same. And then if we look at this design here, now I just need the bar, right? Let me put the bar, that, and then we'll add I don't need the div anymore. We'll make our own, this one here. And then we will put a gap between each. 2 is too wide, I guess. Make it 1. Also, the truncation is a bit strange here. Let's make it 8 here. And I don't want to truncate it, but I want the overflow to be hidden. I also want that text wrap to be none here. How do I make that happen? Text wrap, no wrap, just like so, just like that. And then yeah, I think that's the same with the design that we have here. Let's just add more gap there, even more gap. No, let's reduce it to 2. And then we'll limit this to 6, I guess. And let's make it 7. No, 8. Let's make it 8. So now we have the same on the design that we have, right? The next thing is we now need to implement this project details that we have here. So I'll first commit this this. Check the changes that we made. Team ID. Let me do a how do you call this? A commit of a feature. No, it's a refactor. Refactor project dashboard. And let's say that it's a redesign of the UI. And then we'll place the things that we did here. We added the get team ID, team by ID, to this Firestore repository, and then I'll also I think that's just what we did there. We just added the component and the redesign, added new, add new project details shown to UI, and then we'll just first let's make this project the statuses to have a bit of a gap between them because it's too tight right now. Let's put a gap of 2, a gap of 1. I think that looks fine now. Now let's commit these changes that we made. Awesome. Let's move now to the project details. Details.html. Figma. Here I am double checking if I already have all the necessary things in the dashboard. Okay, let's move on to the titles here. In the title we have the project title, right? And then the same badges, but I think it's too far, so let's place them both together. In this we need the project header HTML, and then I need them both to have one space between each other. And then give me a moment. Sorry. And then we need this project description here, where I forgot to add these owners here. I think we can add the owners here inside this card, so I'll just put this project description at the top right. So let's first create a No, it's in the header. That's that. Oh, this project owner here. We are going to remove this now. Let me check first how this is used. Input. Okay, so these are just inputs that I created. I'll now remove those. Now it's gone here, so we don't need this user full name anymore. And so we also need to remove this one, which is a details. Let me check how it is implemented. It is a computed string. Alright. After that, the project header, that's done. So we'll now move to the dashboard.ts. I accidentally closed those tabs. We'll now move to the project overview. We'll create the card here. Let's remove this. Let me check the design first. There's no header anymore used, right? So we can remove this, and then put the description above. Let's have the project description here. Project overview. This should receive a description, so we'll say project description here. Also, let's make a check here at if description has description, and then we'll do that. Else let's put a check. No, let's say no description here. No description. Now let's remove this. Let's make a comment first and say that this is the project description here. And then we can remove this project description here. Now we don't need the chips anymore because we will be turning this into a card. So let's make the card first, and I'll remove this chips here, and we will this one as well, the bottoms. Now we will have this as a grid. Let me see. This should be a grid now, with a grid column of 2, and then we will have to remove the start here. start date there. Here as well, and the deadline as well, just like so. And this should be grids. Grid calls to, right? Just like so. But this one, this will be oops, wrong press. This will be the same design as this one, but with the start date here, just like so. And the design that we have here, they are, how do I call this? They are split by columns here. So for that, we also need to make this split as columns, not inside here but outside, just like so. Put the div there, and then here too will remove the div and add a end date, deadline. Let's make it deadline here. Also, let's make sure that we have the same class here, just like so. Then after that, we now can add a progress here. And this is just the same as this one. I can make a component for this, but for now let's not do that because it's too much. Oh no, let's just leave it at that for now. And then we have the progress. And some progress data. Let's make it like this for now. Or, I can add the progress bar. This one here. Could add that here. And say that we need the math progress bar module. We now have that. Next is the velocity and the overdue. Velocity and overdue. This is a velocity and overdue. Now, oops. Put the same thing here and say this is velocity, like so. And this overdue here, and the velocity is Figma 5 tasks per week. Let's hard code this for now because this needs an algorithm to work, And right now we are implementing the UI. Let's sequence it. Let's sequence the task so that we can finish them all. This is 5 tasks. Perfect. And copy those and add here 5 tasks. Right, now I also need to add the project owner here because we need those data. I need project owner to be recorded here. So let's copy this one and make it project owner and the name of the project owner here. We do have need to get the project owner data in here. So we'll first receive the username that we had. Where is it? The project details. I close it. There is a user full name here. This one. We can pass that down. Project details. We can pass that to the overview. Let's first make a request. Let's make an input. Project owner full name. This is an input that is required. It is receiving a string or not. Now this should have this project owner here. Project owner full name. This should be project data. No, this is a user full name. Project full name, user full name. We get that from this project ID. This is project facade. Select username. What is this implementation done here? Hot start. User full name. User full name. This one is wrong here because it's reading the user data. Let me actually record this so I can correct it at a later date. Fix the user full name. Function to be a user to need user ID to get the owner ID of the project, of the specific project, rather than assuming the current user is the project owner. We'll fix that at a later date. For now, let's just leave it like that for now. And then we have a project owner now, right? So we'll put those here inside this and say project owner full name and read that data. Now we have the project owner full name, we have the date, the deadline, the progress, velocity, and the overdue, which we have in our design here. We just need to wrap this now in a card. I'm thinking of a card because it's already on the right, how do I call this, the right, or no, we can just make it ourselves. This one here is a grid calls. What is inside here? This is not a project date anymore. This is a, how do I call this? This is a project. No, this is a card. This is a matrix card. No, this is a details card here. And then this is no longer needed. And then we'll have to make this have a background of surface container low. Do I have that one? I don't have one. Let me grab the class. I'm looking for the class here. This one. We need the low. This one here. Let's put it here. Surface container low. And then let's apply it. This one here, let's make it matte PG surface container low. Just like so. And then we also need the colors here to be matte. I don't have a surface color. Now we have a surface color here. And we don't have one. I think I think that's fine. Let's add a padding of 4. Let's check the Figma design. This has a padding of 4, 16 for each side, and a gap of 8. Okay. This should be a gap of 8, like so, and then padding of 4. Yeah, I think that's the card now done. Next is this task board here. I think I forgot to add this corner here. This is what's the corner for this one? A small corner. Do I have a corner for the small one here? No. Let me grab the class. This one. Now we have this small corner here. Matte. corner, small. Now we have the border radius. Next is this, the bottom part. What's the name of this? Task board. Here we need the, I think I have that already. Let me see. The details, overview, metrics. We don't need the metrics anymore, so we will just delete it in here. Project metrics, this one here is no longer needed, so we'll delete that. And project details, this one here, let's delete that for just next one. Let's commit these changes that we just made for this. Project, how do you call this? The details card, project details card. What did I call that? Details card on here. Let's make this project details card. Project details card. Say that this is a refactor for the project details. We add project details, add UI project details card, project details card, and we also added, did we make a significant change on this file sync? Nothing much, just the UI. Remove the project metrics component. I think that's that. Let's commit this. No, add UI project details card for remove project metrics component. Let's commit this now. Let's move on to the task board here. This one here has a task board. There's a lot of sorting mechanism that we can utilize as well, so that we have the box that we created inside this in Figma. This one, task board with categories of boxes. We can utilize what we already have here and make it so that, let's remove this. Let's make it a minute. Let's create this task board. Let's check the dependencies that we have here. The icon module. If I remove this, let me remove the module here so that I can clearly see where I used it. After that, we will now let's remove the task sort here. Oh no, we need the task sort, do we? Or let me first create the boxes for now. For the to-do, need the box. This should hold a wait a minute. I am thinking of how to structure this one here. Let me check it first how this one is created. It's just a simple list. Alright, we can use that for other reasons, but not for this one here, because we need our own implementation. We just need a count, right? So I am thinking that we have this div here and we'll create our own box, right? And then we have this to do here that says to do, just like so. And then we make this box have a width and height of, let's say, let's first make it 24, I guess, and a height of 24, just like that, and give it a color of, what's the color in a Figma file here? We have the, what do you call this, the surface. Right, I already added the mat bg surface container low. That should be it. And then we need to add the extra small. Is this an extra small corner radius? It's a small. We already have the small one here. Need to make it, we need to say mat corner small here, and then inside this we'll have a, in this one here that says the number, and because of that I need this one to be flex, and this should have an item center and a justify center here to center this number. And then the size for this is display large. I don't think we have a display large class on our file here. Let me drink water. We need the display large. Let me check it again. Display large. Let's get the class here. Use it here. Display large. You need to have the display. Display here. Just like so. And now we can make this class of not on display large. Now that looks like the one we have in our design, but I think it's too big. Let's try the small. Let's check the design first. think it's because the box is small in our implementation. The box here is 144, so it also needs to be 144 width and height here, which should be where's it? This one here. Let's check the width. 64. How much is 64 here? 256. So 32. 128. 40. 160. 36. 144. Need 36 angular. 36 width and height. Right, that should be good. And then this should be, let's remove this to-do title here. Just like that. And then let's remove this one here. Like so. And now let's remove the div here because we don't need it. And then we need to make this here to be justify center. Let's make it times center, justify center here. Why is that? Oh, this is outside the div. No. Let me check. PG red 200. This should be fit. Actually though, we don't need to put that way, because instead of this one being a flex, we can just make it a grid here. No, never mind, it's flex. This will be a scroll. Is this a scrollable? Let me check first. This is a scrollable here, so that should be a flex. Now we need this to be fit here, so we'll say this should fit here. And make it an items center, like so. Now we can remove this background here and make the title have this matte font title here. Matte font title small. Yeah, that's that. We now need to I am thinking of making it a component here, so we don't have to repeat ourselves. Let me actually make that project dashboard. Let's create a task count card. Project dashboard. And then we have the project task count card. Project task board card. taskboard card. We now have that. Let's open it. Taskboard card. And let's copy this one here, which we already have one. And that's that. Now we'll just have to insert it. Project taskboard card here. What's happening here? Like so. Import it. Now we can move this one here. And then we could just create an array here that is a read-only categories, task categories, which should be the task status array, and then we'll have an array of the task status here. So we have these to do, we have this review in progress, also have this reviewing, and we have this approve, no, rejected, and we have the approve, approved, and we have this, I think that's that here. We hide it. So now we will say that for task category, for category of task categories, I'll track it by index and just put this one here. Now we have that, and then we will just have to delete the ones at the bottom. What did I just do? And delete this here, like so. Now it's much more concise, and we have these elements that we need. But rather than a column, we want it to be that one, a grid that you can scroll on. Now I want this to be, I want this to be scrollable only on this one here. So this should be a overflow hidden. Overflow hidden. Let me check. Overflow hidden. Oh, we can clip it. No, we can make it hidden instead. Overflow hidden. And then here, let's make this W full. Let me research this. Where is it? And this asks, how do you make something scroll to the right without overflowing the whole page and keeping the width of the screen like there, not moving there, scrollable left and right. Not moving while preserving the screen width and not overflowing the whole layout. Scroll container, overflow X, auto, overflow Y, hidden, fix with larger than screen, wide content, overflow X auto with 100%. Okay, so this needs to be contained. So oops, no, this is the container of that, right? So this should have a W full and an overflow of X auto, overflow X auto. I think that's that. We need the scroll container to be contained. Overflow Y is hidden. Scroll container, very wide content. Let me try to create another div here. And how's this one here? Let's see how this is. Let's make it a flex, a gap of 2. Now we need to contain this gap here. Overflow X auto, min width. Max, is that yes, this. Then we need this. We need to clip it. Figma. We need this to be right. Min with 0. Here. Min. Oops. This should be right. This should be in this here. Still the same. make it let's make it a overflow X. Overflow X auto. Oh right, I forgot. I should make this one. This is already over. I said hidden. What is causing to push the width? This one here to clip. Before let me make this hidden for now, and then we make this should be, let's try to make this hidden and see. It's still occupied spaces. Overflow automate without overflowing the whole page in CSS. Force the container to anchor its layout alignment to the right. Overflow X hidden container auto flex and text align right margin display positioning is a decorative asset to the parent wrapper. It will freely expand out toward the left without resizing the wrapper. The flex box negative margin method. Inside a row to stretch past the left edge, apply a hard width to it alongside the negative left bounds on the left side. Alright. Anyways, alright, everyone, I will be stopping now, but let's do a recap of what we did. We implemented the UI design from Figma, although we didn't finish it exactly. We also briefly discussed about the change that we would make. Right now, I would stop the stream so that I can think about the problem that we just discussed. this we just, how do I say it, encountered, where we need the this one. Let me show it. Where we need this one here. We need the width of the container to be the same without extending outward to horizontally, while making this task board here scrollable left and right. That's the design that we are aiming for, and right now I don't have any good idea yet of how to implement that, so I will take a break and think about it, also do some research and rest. So we will continue applying the UI design from Figma on the next streams. I will also try to finish some of those so that we can just focus on the route architecture implementation and the view philosophy. That way we can move along the project much more quicker. And so yeah, that's all, and thank you very much for watching, for staying. And also, if you want to join the community, as I mentioned at the beginning, I have a Discord for that with the link at the bottom left corner of the screen and also in the description. I post updates there, development logs, and if you just want to hang out, you can join the Discord server. Alright everyone, thank you again, and let me know if you have any feedback, suggestions, or comments. Leave them in the comment below. And also, don't forget to subscribe, like, if you want to be updated. If you find this content interesting, it helps me greatly. And yeah, that's all everyone. Thank you very much, and see you on the next streams.